Why in the world is No Jumper going broke? What up, words? Your boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashapp to CLBMG. Join the membership, gang. Listen, I told you several times, I went over to LA. I went over to LA to appear on the No Jumper News, and I told you I had a great time. I was dressed accordingly. I didn't wear anything to stand out as a red or a blue. I just was in all black. I met Brick Baby. I met Dijon. I met quite a few people. Almighty, right? I told you they had a beautiful facility. Salute to Lauren, who hit me up on the Instagram page, which apparently is now deleted. But she hit me up and said, come through. We would like to have you as a guest, and I am forever grateful for that. So I'll never be really overly disrespectful to No Jumper as a brand. But I do want to say that I saw the video where Adam 22 was saying that No Jumper's going broke, basically. And as a businessman myself, we've been in business for at least 15 years, and I know the ups and downs of the business world. I know how it is to make payroll every week. I know how it is to pay for a very expensive space, right? We got our new space right at the beginning, right before COVID hit. We brought a new space just like they did, and space is beautiful, but it's mad expensive, and you got to do all kind of gymnastics to pay these bills when that COVID hit and they closed us down. I think we were only open for like 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Before COVID hit and shut everything down. So we had to maneuver things and figure things out. And that's what they had to do. But some businesses went up in COVID. Some went down during COVID. And the ones that went up, they went up dramatically, right? And the ones that were in a necessity were internet-based. Like we used to have when everybody was on Versus. Like everybody was sitting home because they couldn't go nowhere. They're watching Versus. This guy versus that guy. Versus was 300% up. Like everybody was talking about, that was the biggest thing in the business. And a lot of people were sitting home watching YouTube and a lot of just content. They was consuming social media, right? With that being said, apparently No Jumper excelled at that time. They had their goals, they had their hosts, and they had their content, and it was doing really well for a time. It was good. And now at this point, after a bunch of different things happening, events over there, half of their hosts walked out, T-Rail and a bunch of other people. I'm going to be honest, I was never really the biggest No Jumper watcher, but at the same time, I knew who they were and I knew what they did. And they used to break artists, and they used to have some of the biggest porno interviews were on No Jumper and Vlad. They both were interviewing porn stars. And I didn't watch, but it comes up in your feed and you see it. And they were doing well. They were doing creative content. They were doing stuff that no one else was doing. These things. It was taboo, and they were excelling at it. I believe they had the first XXXTentacion. A lot of SoundCloud rappers were getting discovered on by Adam 22, who's an ex-BMX bike rider, and I believe he's from out this way on East Coast. I believe it's either Maine or New Hampshire. BMX rider, right? Biker. And salute to BMX riders, right? But at the end of the day, he built a brand that was based on the new, the up and coming, tapping into niche markets, tapping into stuff that other people wouldn't touch. Like I said, the adult stars and the up and coming SoundCloud rappers who don't have a name yet, but they're coming up, right? And for a time, it was good. That's what young people, that's the voice of young people. Things that other people won't touch, young people gravitate to that. So it was where people were finding their creative niches. Like, you know, so it was entertaining. And I always looked at No Jumper as this kind of indie explorative thing where, okay, if it's something cool, they're going to have it, right? And as time went on, I started to see clips that just got a little edgier. It started to feel like it got darker. And it would be some guy jumping out of his chair, you know what I'm saying, to freaking charge another dude. Or they got this pimp on there, sharp, like whatever. I can't do a sharp voice, but they started having this angry ass pimp on there with these glasses. And I was like, I couldn't figure out, like, is this dude serious? Like, is this real? Is this nigga really a pimp, or is he just like, is he playing a role? Because it was like, this can't be real. Like, this dude really is a pimp on here, right? And then it just started being like, it got more street. And then it got into where it started to be more gang and gangster rapper related, right? I'm just gonna be honest. I used to feel like the show was in Florida. But then it started feeling like LA. I was like, this don't feel like some nice warm weather Florida, you know what I'm saying, happy-go-lucky shit. This shit feel like these niggas might got knives in here. Like, this shit, it just started to feel a little tough in that joint. So I was like, okay, all right. It is what it is. This ain't my thing, but it's cool. And so I'm gonna be honest, when I got offered to go over there, I thought it was just another podcast. I didn't know that it was like, yeah, red or blue, cuz. Like, I didn't know it was like that. But by the time I got there, and like I said, there was no incidents. It's a beautiful space. It was cubicles. It was an industrial park. I felt very safe. It didn't feel like it was even Almighty, and then was talking about going to play. He had brought an old video game, and I think he was going to play that old Def Jam Fight for New York. He like, I got Def Jam Fight for New York. They was going to play that, right? So it didn't feel like this gang bang central shit, right? And after I went there, me and my wife was there. We just had a good time, right? Drinking coffee, like da-da-da. We left, went to IHOP. It was a great day, right? Drove back to Vegas. Everything was good. After I get home, I'm watching and I'm starting to catch up and follow up on the show. And I'm like, hold up. As I start to really pay attention, it's like, this dude's a gangbanger. That dude's a gangbanger. Like, these dudes are beefing. This dude that I just met, shook his hand, is talking about sliding on the, I'm like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And then the drama, then Whack 100 comes, and it's like, he wasn't there when I went there, but it just went from like straight up content to just, let's see who gets killed, right? It's like, it started to get dangerous. I was like, gang, like, they were very secretive about the location. When I got the invite, it was very secretive. Like, we don't give you the location until like 2 days before. Like, it was very secret. I was like, so why are all these gangbangers up here now? Like, it was like, this guy's looking for Brick Baby walking through the building. Where you at, Brick? I'm like, what? This is not that. I'm like, why is this happening? Like, this didn't feel like that. So now it's straight up death threats. And now dudes they're in the parking lot getting beaten, stripped naked. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but this is escalating where the content was going. When I started to, I went there last January. When I started to watch it through February, March, April, May, it started to get more and more violent. It started to get more and more threats. This guy better not be there when that guy comes. And I'm like, wait, this is the content? This is what we're doing for views, right? I saw Almighty jump up and jab somebody. Like, it just got really crazy. And it's just like, the guys that worked together were jabbing at each other, was always at odds. And I'm like, oh, so this is what it is. This is the content. They're not really upset, because I remember Brick Baby had he was cool with the other guy that was from a different set. And they were real cool. And out of nowhere, he let somebody say something on the thing, and then all of a sudden, they not cool, right? I think it's DW, something like that, DW Flame. And all of a sudden, now they not cool. And now you better not catch him then. Now his brother was at the thing. He yoked up Brick Baby. I'm like, yo, what is going on, gang? This is content? So what I'm saying is, now the content is more violent. Now the content is more physical. And the content is, I'm tougher than you. And then it got to a point where Brick is telling dudes, yo, I got more bodies than you got squabbles. Whack is on there telling everything about Big U, and then Whack has a whole fallout. I'm like, yo, I don't know how long this is gonna be on. I'm like, I don't know how long this is gonna be a viable source of freaking content. And what I'm saying is, all of that, after a while, to me, once half that staff left and all these, to combat that, you're gonna need talent. You gotta think, and my whole thing is, the internet is shifting right now. Right now, a lot of Jerry Springer shit, that's like Jerry Springer content. Let's just be honest. Bitch, what the fuck? Like, that's my man. Like, it's Jerry Springer. And for a time, we used to love Jerry Springer, right? Yeah, we used to love it. For a time, you wake up every morning, you fry some eggs, scramble some eggs, scramble some sausage, or for some of you who eat bacon, whatever you eating, and applesauce, whatever, and you go sit down in your boxes, click on some Jerry Springer, watch that, knock that out. Judge Mathis, knock. right? Cup of juice. This starts your day, right? After a while, we wasn't watching Jerry Springer no more. After a while, you can't get through 2 minutes of Jerry Springer. Just gonna be honest. And at some point, Jerry Springer seems like it's for people that aren't you. It's like beneath you some kind of way. I mean, if you're a grown up, right, that got shit to do, real life things, Jerry Springer is for people who really ain't got nothing going on. I'm just gonna be honest. You may be watching Jerry Springer right after this. I don't know what you got going on with your life, but most people not really clicking on Jerry Springer no more. I know it's off the air, but it was on for about 20 years. Let's just be honest. I don't know who was watching it. Maybe only people in West Virginia was watching Jerry Springer. Maybe that's why I stayed on for 20 years. But for some reason, we got a little beyond Jerry Springer, and we started to want to hear content. Right? We started to want to hear, we wanted to see and hear stuff that had more thought into it, and it was much more relatable to what we were going through. Because I can't relate to somebody I'm with bringing me out on a show and then they bring their man out the back and he's swinging on me. I can't relate to that. That's not entertaining to me. And even with Maury Povich, we went far too long. I know I went too many times where if I had a day off from work and I'm sitting there like, I'm waiting to see who this nigga the father. Do he look like that baby? That baby don't look like him. Look at the nose. Is that the nose? Is that the baby? Yo, so it's like, it's you know what I'm saying? It's what they call it, guilty pleasure, da-da-da. But even that, after a while, you're like, yeah, I don't care who the father is, that baby, right? I actually got to go to work. So that content right now, I think the internet is shifting away from that. I think they're shifting away from almost fights, almost violent. And I understand Twitter still has these fight videos and this and that, but that's not like staged. These are just fights and people randomly happen. But to have content every day where you're goading people to fight and it's almost about to be a whole gang war because something you said on a podcast, or 60 people get indicted with a RICO because things that are said in a podcast where 30% of the evidence against the Rolling 60s Crips is from online confessions. Yeah, it is hitting different now. I'm just going to be honest. This is a little different animal at this point. So now we're looking at, do you still want to consume this? You're part of the problem at this point. If you're consuming this kind of stuff. If you really like drama and you like hosts that might go to blows every day, or you like people that may at some point actually see each other and do harm, or people that came up to the studio looking for Whack 100 and they ended up stripped down naked in the hospital, if that's what you want to see, then you'll continue to watch that. But for me, I'm going to watch something else. I'm just going to be honest. I want to hear thoughtful content where the person knows what they're talking about and they have input about it that's going to be refreshing. I'm just going to be honest. I am not in the gang. I don't prescribe to be in a gang or watch gangbangers do gangbanger things. So I'm not going to sit and watch gangbangers yelling back and forth about how real they are on any type of platform. I'm just going to be honest. I know that may be, I don't know if that's disrespectful or not, but that's just me. And I say I told you, I went over there, it was very pleasant, I had no problems. But when I got back, it escalated. I think people are not going to continue to consume that at the high levels that they were consuming it before. Now, Adam 22 said the viewership returned to normal, right? I think the viewership escalated because it was shock value, but I also think that by all the hosts that were there before, I believe those hosts may have been a little more seasoned than these guys. And I think that, no disrespect to these guys, I have no problem with, but I think these guys may be a little bit, they're still green and they're learning, so they're doing more shock value. And I think it's starting to run its course when people can see that this person is just doing this to be shocking. I don't know if you guys know, but it takes a certain skill to get it here and to command your attention for 20 minutes. It takes a certain kind of you gotta be kind of thoughtful. You kind of gotta know how to reel people in. I'm just going to be honest. It's not easy. It's not easy. And I'm gonna go even further. I used to follow other YouTubers And before I got into this, and I would be like, oh, wow, they're good or whatever. And now that I'm in this and I see what really you're supposed to do with this, and I see a lot of them, they weren't never good. You know what I mean? They weren't ever really that good at this. And the numbers are starting to show. People who used to do a lot of numbers a year ago can barely get anybody to watch them because the content is getting better over on the other side of the coin. Right? You got people like Curtis King, the company man. You got a whole bunch of really good podcasters out here. You know what I mean? It's a whole different. You got Rob Marksman. You got a lot of good people sitting down calmly explaining what's going on. People want you to explain to them something they don't know. Just going to be honest. They want you to entertain them. They want you to be captivating. And they want to know that they can feel you and they realize that they can trust what you're saying. And even if you get it wrong sometimes, you're not trying to deceive them and use them for clicks. So what's going to have to happen over there, they're going to have to start thinking outside the box. Because the content that they're pushing, right? Adam22 said in the video that they got a $4 million building that they got to sell. They're laying people off, and they just got a lot going on where they need to level this off to where the numbers can support the amount the money of the business is making. Well, I think not only they got to do all that, and they got to get the Instagram back. Instagram got taken because they were doing a lot of money on Instagram, and they got to delete it, right? I think beyond that, you're going to have to actually get some real talent. I'm not saying these guys aren't real talent, but if you want to have a viable business, I don't think a viable business is going to be with a bunch of people that may be Rico tomorrow. No disrespect, but I'm just going to be a buck. If they're going to be talented, they're going to have to be able to sit and talk about a subject and engage people and actually do the work it's going to take to be better at talking about that. Stephen A. Smith don't just show up and start talking. He got to research. He has a knowledgeable staff that's going to help him, hand him the proper paperwork. He's going to think it through. He's going to think it through an hour before he actually starts talking. You got to know where you're going with this before you start talking. It ain't just off the cuff. You're coming in high. You're coming in late. That's not how this works. I got to think an hour about a 10-minute video. How I'm going to start it, how I'm going to be in the middle, and how I'm going to do it at the end, and everything that needs to be said in it. I don't just put the camera on, gang. It's not how this works. I don't just start talking and I don't know where it's going. No, I need to, before I click record, I think about this shit for hours. I gather my resources. I figure out how to make it entertaining. And I figure out what people that follow me want to hear. This ain't easy. But I should make it look easy for you to want to watch. I shouldn't be in this bitch gassing out of breath and sweating because no, it's not. You got to make it look easy. But this is not. You got to put some thought into this. And for No Jumper, as a brand, is going to have to once again decide: do we want to be the brand of gangbangers? Not nothing wrong with gangbangers. Don't take that offensively. But you got to have something else. Even gangbangers want to watch other shit. Just going to be honest. So you're going to have to decide, are you going to just give real content? Are you going to be a real network of content? Or are you just going to let dudes come up there drunk and high and start fighting and start shit on the streets and start messes out in the world and just get the views from that? And then when it don't work, start laying niggas off. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, I'm going to keep it moving. CLBMG, I hope y'all enjoyed this. But listen, head on over to black-yeti.com. Again, black with a dash. You got to put a dash in there. Yeti, Y-E-T-I. Black-yeti.com. That's the sponsor of Talking Facts. They sponsor the What Show. All right? Make sure you go over there and support, see what they got going on. And I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.